Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. You can repeat it after me. You don't have to say it sound. Let's all say it together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to welcome everyone to America's Islamic Heritage Museum. This is the fourth in a series of programs that we've been doing on the histories and sharing the narratives of Muslims in Americas and throughout the United States. Today we're blessed with a brother that's been in the religion since 1953. 1953 is at least 66 years. I'm 65 years old. So he's been in the game for a long time. So there's a lot that we're going to share. This is the first time I think I'm going to share with him, try to be a host and ask him questions, but we're going to allow him to share his experience. Hopefully we'll talk about the 50s, his experience that he went through in the 50s, different people and personalities. Then hopefully we can talk a little bit about the 60s, and then maybe experience in the 70s, and then so forth. This is Brother Richard Hassan, originally from where?
Philadelphia.
Originally from Philadelphia. And I met this brother maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Time flies. They say he was a historian. His experience. I talked with him one time. He said that he spoke with and used to be the captain of Minister Lucius Biya. Those that are historians, or those that know anything in history about the nation of Islam, Minister Lucius Biya used to be called the Dean of the Ministers. He was before Malcolm, before Farrakhan, all of them. It was Minister Lucius Biya. Minister Lucius Biya is the minister that when Malcolm got out of prison, came to Elijah Muhammad's house, he opened the door for him. Minister Lucius Biya was the minister of Master Temple, Muhammad's Holy Temple number 4 in Washington, D.C. when it was built from the ground up. He was that minister that was the motivating force behind that. And that was the only temple that was built from the ground up during the days of Elijah Muhammad. So Brother Richard Hassan, when did you come into the Nation of Islam, and where and how?
Yes, sir. I came in the Nation of Islam in 1953, and I had heard it back in 51 and 52. We had a brother named Charlie Sims, who was in jail with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Charlie was from Richmond, Virginia. And he came up to Philadelphia and opened up a barber shop. And everybody that sat in the chair, he would teach them about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and about the Nation of Islam, and how to get your X, to get rid of the white man's name. And in that time, a lot of you, how many of you remember Minister Jeremiah Shabazz? The National Secretary, John Alvin. And we had a whole family, the Hyman family. They came into the Nation of Islam. And see, we were a very bad gang right up the street from where Brother Charlie had his barbershop. And we would see Minister Jeremiah and the first pioneers. They had suits and ties on, and we would look at them and say, man, them guys are communists, But we didn't know, And because we knew they hung in the bar right across the street. And they stopped hanging in the bar, and they started walking together, blue suits, red ties, and I said, wow. And we used to watch them. And so eventually, our gang said, we're going around to that temple and see what they're talking about. So we all went around there. And you had to get searched, you know, before you went in there. In fact, they wasn't at the temple. They met in Marcus Garvey Hall in Philadelphia. And Marcus Garvey Hall was at 16th and Columbia Avenue, which is now called Cecil B. Moore Avenue. And Marcus Garvey Hall was where the people that followed Marcus Garvey had their meetings. And so they had rented the second floor of that hall, and the Marcus Garvey people was on the top floor. And they had no heat in there. So you had your overcoats on and everything. And so we went up there. And before really going up there, our gang, we had a very bad gang in Philadelphia. We had a lot of gangs. And I used to work in a drug house. And the drug dealers or on the house and all, he would come in, he had the satchel bag full of drugs, marijuana and all, and he put it on the coffee table. And our job was to roll the joints, you know, and smoke the joints. We weren't getting no money, but we was getting high as we could be. But anyway, we had a gun, 22 caliber gun, and we used to put one bullet in. How many of y'all know what Russian roulette is? Well, at that time, Johnny Ace, if you remember Johnny Ace, that was a popular song in the 50s. And he did that. He shot himself and killed himself. So we was doing that. We would put the bullet in the chamber and spin it. Click. Pass the gun around. And the night that I wasn't there, my very best friend, he got it. The bullet hit him. Bang! And I said, oh, boy, what am I going to do? So I heard, you know, I was hearing the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I went home and I prayed. First I prayed to Jesus, then I prayed to God, then I prayed to Allah. I said, one of y'all got to save him. If he saved his life, then I'll stop doing all this. And this was in 1953. They couldn't move the bullet. If they moved the bullet, he would have died. So they left it in his head. He was kind of paralyzed and everything. And so I said, if you save his life, I'll give all this stuff up and I'll become a Muslim. And so I stopped right then when I seen what was happening to him, and Allah kept him alive. He lived up until about 2007 with that bullet in his head. And that kept me straight, because he was my best friend. If you saw him, you saw me. And when you make a covenant to Allah, and Allah guides you, He's with you, you know. And so that's how I became in the Nation of Islam. And it was a blessing for me. And at that time, we used to take our trips to Chicago, you know, for Savior's Day. And what I realized, going to Chicago, Harold Johnson was the main restaurant on the turnpikes and all. We could go in there and get our food, but we couldn't sit down. We had to take our food out and, you know, eat in the cars and all like that. And so I was seeing this kind of prejudice going across Pennsylvania, you know. And I grew up in an integrated neighborhood in Philadelphia. So we used to have basketball games with the white boys and all like that. And my first thing was to beat them up. You know, I would beat them up. You know, I'd start fights because I didn't like them. But I did have some white friends, you know, and I would beat these white boys up. And, but see, all this was sinking in. And then, you know where, I know you heard of the Philadelphia Art Museum. And they have Sylvester Stallone outside as Rocky. And a fictional character, you know? So we used to walk down to the art museum, and while we were walking down there, the white people would see us coming down there. And they alerted everybody in the neighborhood. I don't want to use the word, in, I'll just say in. And so they would come out the house, and we would fight them just to go down there by the museum to play. And also, we fought them coming back. And in South Philly, where the Navy Yard was, they had a swimming pool. We would walk all the way from North Philly, all the way down to the end of Broad Street, where the Navy base was, to go swimming. And the Italians, they would see us coming through the neighborhood. And they called all their people, and we fought them going all the way. We weren't scared of them. We fought them going to go swimming. We fought them to come back. But I'm just explaining how the pockets of prejudice was in the city of Philadelphia. We had a movie theater on 26th and Girard Avenue called the Fairmount Movie. And we had to, we pay our movie fare, but we had to go up to the balcony. And Girard College, I don't know if you ever heard of Girard College. Stephen Girard, he was the treasurer of the United States during the 1700 and all. And he stole all this money from Haiti. And he became a banker in Philadelphia. He was one of the richest men in the United States at that time. So he built this college called Girard College for poor white boys. And they used to come, the boys used to come to the movies when we had to go upstairs, and we threw everything down on them. Candy, soda, water, everything. So the management said, well, as the movie filled up from now on, we could sit behind the white people, and then the rest of us could go upstairs. But that still didn't stop us from beating them boys up, It's a lot worse. I don't even want to tell you about that. But anyway, that was my blessing. And then I didn't go to school. We had built a brand new youth study center for people that was, truant and didn't go to school and everything. And so Memorial Day weekend, they put me away in this youth study center, brand new place. And they had the Memorial Day parade on the Parkway. And I was looking out the window at the parade. So I said, well, what happened? Every door I went by to, I heard the click, because they would lock every door you go through. And that click just hit me. I said, I'm never going to jail, because that click I heard of locking the doors, it just sunk into me. I said, I'll never go to jail. And I think Allah never did. But it just stuck with me. And my brother, he married a young lady from Denver, Colorado. He was a World War II veteran. And he was going to be stationed, or they was going to send him to Korea. And he married this young lady from Denver, Colorado. So he came and got me out. I stayed overnight in the youth study center. And he told them, he said, I'm going to take him with me out west, which was a blessing, because I only stayed overnight. And we went to Denver, Colorado. And I stayed there for over the summer, and I worked at Walgreens drugstore. And see, in those days, Walgreens had soda fountains and all that in there, So I worked in there, cleaning up around the soda fountains. And then my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, her uncle had a shoe repair place. So I went in there after I got off from work, and I was learning how to, repair shoes and all like that. Then I got another job at the Denver Post newspaper. So I had 3 jobs out there in Denver. And so when the summer was over, I had to come back to Philadelphia to go to school. But I didn't go back to school. I like working, I like making money, so I got jobs like that. But it was a blessing for me. And anyway, I started going to the temple. And at that time, Minister Malcolm was sent to Philadelphia to help us get started. We had, we didn't have newspapers, you know, Muhammad Speaks and Muslim Journal. We didn't have those newspapers. We had the Pittsburgh Courier. I hope y'all remember the Pittsburgh Courier. Well, the Pittsburgh Courier, it was only 10 temples when I came into the Nation of Islam. So we wanted to be number 11, and we were in competition